Well, we've been talking a lot about all the craziness occurring over in the UK, to say the least. But now we've got a crossover with the anime community and the craziness going on in the UK. I gotta say, guys, this is a crossover I did not see coming. Dexerto reporting a 16-year-old in cosplay was arrested near Chelsea Football Stadium, that being in London, and I'll show you the map in a second. Very important to what ultimately happened here. And they say, after being mistaken for a suspected shooter due to his imitation gun, it's believed he was traveling to the London Anime and Gaming Con taking place nearby. And we can see this is clearly a Umbrella Corp Resident Evil costume cosplay. You got the Umbrella logo on the side, the firearms got the orange cap and all that. Seems to be a prop weapon. And some are saying this is hung from Resident Evil. I always forget what that dude looks like because his outfit's so generic. But yeah, I mean, this seems to be a cosplay. And here's the cosplayer. They got this 16-year-old on the ground. They are treating this cosplayer more harshly than they treat many illegal migrants in the UK who are literally preying on women and children. If I wasn't too lazy, I'd make a meme of like migrant preying on women and children, I sleep, cosplayer, real like that. That would apply here very well, I think. And it gets way crazier because they follow it up by saying police are still holding the Resident Evil cosplayer in custody for suspicion of an imitation firearm. If it's ruled that his weapon looked too realistic, he may face criminal charges. Bro, 16-year-old going to an anime convention, getting arrested, maybe getting criminal charges over this, like, you have got to be kidding me. So now let's hop over to askthepolice.uk. Ask the Police UK. Question, can I have an imitation firearm? And answer, this will depend on the circumstances, they say. It's an offense to possess an imitation firearm in a public place, unless the person can prove they have lawful authority or a reasonable excuse. It is also an offense to manufacture, import, or sell a realistic imitation firearm, or to modify an imitation firearm so that it becomes a realistic imitation firearm. There are some exceptions, for example, weapons used in historical reenactments, theatrical productions, and filmmaking. It is also an offense to possess an article capable of being used to convert an imitation firearm, where the person intends to use the article, whether by itself or with other articles, to convert such a firearm. Registered firearms dealers are exempt from this offense. It is an offense to sell an imitation firearm to a person under the age of 18, or for a person under 18 to purchase one. An imitation firearm has been defined as anything which has the appearance of being a firearm, whether or not it is capable of discharging any shot, bullet, or other missile. So it could include toy guns. Many imitation weapons are very realistic, and until the weapon has been seized, it is difficult to ascertain whether it is genuine or not. This doesn't sound good for this poor 16-year-old dude. What the frick? All calls to police involving firearms are treated as if it is a genuine firearm, so be aware that if you do wave an imitation firearm around, you could find yourself surrounded by firearms officers pointing real weapons at you, which you seem to have learned. Now look, I'm an American. To me, reading this stuff, this sounds pretty crazy, but if you live in the UK and you know this is how strict they are about this stuff, I suppose you can fairly say that, yeah, some of the responsibility is on this 16-year-old. He had any character he could have cosplayed. He picked one that puts him at risk for this stuff. But at the same time, bro's a 16-year-old just trying to go to an anime convention who happened to pick the wrong cosplay. Hopefully they don't treat this guy too harshly. Even more so because, as I mentioned at the beginning, there are far more important things that the police in the UK should be concerned about that they're really not concerned about at all. But let's take a look at this really quick. Breaking. It appears by his own social media posts that an illegal immigrant staying at the Bell Hotel in Epping, recording the protests out the window, also has many posts of him with heavy firearms. We've got a 35-second long clip, but really quick side note as well. If you saw my video yesterday about the protests in the UK, you know that a lot of the ones we talked about yesterday were occurring right here, at the Bell Hotel in Epping, given a recent judgment to allow these illegal migrants to stay in this hotel, particularly after one was caught doing a terrible thing to a child. That's all the phrasing I can use here, given the platform that we're on, but I'm sure you get the point that I'm making. Horrific stuff. And so there's been tons of protests about this, and that's some additional context to the clip that we're about to take a look at. And of course, if you want more info on this, consider watching yesterday's video if you missed it. Now let's watch this 35-second clip.
You guys are just recording it.
Okay, so that dude seems to have been recording that outside the hotel, and here's the rest of his social media account. And apparently, oh yeah, yep, there we go. I was going to say, apparently we're going to see some firearms in a second. And before I could even finish my sentence, they are right there on screen. Yeah, something tells me these are not imitation firearms. So as they currently got a 16-year-old in custody or so, it seems, over his hunk cosplay and the toy he brought, you got dudes like this just holed up in hotels across the UK. And I do say like multiple people, or I make the implication about multiple people, because guys, I've seen more than just this post of illegal migrants in the UK bragging about having firearms. Case in point right here, asylum seeker shares videos of guns, then evades Home Office entry checks. Home Office being the part of the UK government in charge of things like immigration. The caption on the bottom reading, an asylum seeker who recently arrived in the UK and is being housed in government accommodation, shared multiple social media videos of weapons from Yemen, the iPaper has discovered. The footage has raised questions about how people coming to the UK on small boats are being checked by officials when they arrive in England. In a series of publicly available Snapchat videos, the man shared footage from Yemeni capital Sana'a of himself and arms including AK-104 assault rifles, handguns, knives, ammunition magazines, as well as bundles of cash. And yeah, there's one of the images. You can see he's really showing off that firearm there on the side and that dagger he's got right there in the center. Then there was also this one with the ammunition, and we scroll a bit, the so-called bundles of cash. And then there was another similar situation reported by the Daily Mail, saying asylum seeker who is linked to the Houthis and posts images of weapons online for migrant housing is being probed by the police. An asylum seeker being housed at a controversial accommodation center is being investigated for alleged links to the Houthi rebel group after he reportedly shared images of himself holding weapons online. The man, who is believed to be from Yemen but is now staying at the former Wethersfield Air Base in Essex, has been reported to police by concerned locals. It comes after a member of the public uncovered multiple images of daggers and guns on the Snapchat story linked to the asylum seeker accommodation center. Other photos that were shared on the platform appear to show the migrant posing with an AK-47 assault rifle back in Yemen. More recent images, however, show him inside the grounds of the Wethersfield site, which has previously been the target of anti-immigration protests. The man also shared a screenshot of a conversation in Arabic on the account where he appeared to set out his plans to cross the channel from Calais to Britain by boat. Essex police told the Daily Mail that they had visited an individual living in the Wethersfield area over the posts. The Home Office also said they were aware of this individual and that appropriate action had been taken. Yeah, the appropriate action of paying him for his weekly food stipends and accommodating him with a hotel and all that. However, sources told us the asylum seeker is believed to still be being housed at the airbase, which, oh my gosh, dude, which has been used to accommodate migrants since 2023. I was like partially joking a second ago, but at the same time, like a jest in full seriousness, because that's what's been happening. And sure enough, yeah, there you go. So here's one of the images of this dude. You can see the assault rifle there, and the man who is believed to be from Yemen has been reported to police by concerned locals. Pictured one of the photos posted on Snapchat, and there you go. This is just crazy, dude. Just freaking crazy. Look at this, another one. It has been alleged that the man has shown support for the Houthi rebel group in Yemen, which has attacked British-flagged vessels in the Red Sea. The group is not a prescribed organization in the UK, but its members have been designated as terrorists by other countries such as the US. We'll skip here, check this out. Nathan Robbins, the interim chair of Reform UK in nearby Braintree, told the Daily Mail, one of our members came to us the other week saying they had reported this back in April to Essex police, but nothing was done. So I'm not 100% sure if this is the same person from the other article or a different migrant doing similar stuff, similar circumstances. But the main point here is the inaction from the police. But watch this 16-year-old from earlier get charged with like 20 years in prison or something crazy over this Hunt cosplay. Now, the last thing I'd like to take a look at, going back to Dexerto's tweet here, is they mentioned that it's believed the 16-year-old was going to the London Anime and Gaming Con, but he was arrested near Chelsea Football Stadium. So let's pull up a map and take a look at how close these two venues are. All right, so on the top left, you can see we've got the Novotel London West. That is where the anime convention is occurring. And then all the way in the right over here, oh, my cursor's not on screen, dang, I don't know why it's not popping up. But on the right is the football stadium, and it's about 2.5 miles away to 2 miles away, depending on which direction you take. And this is a completely reasonable thing for someone going to an anime convention, like a completely reasonable distance, I should say, rather. Oftentimes you see people maybe staying a few miles away from the convention because hotels are less expensive in that area, or they got like an Airbnb or something. So like obviously mostly it would be like more convenient to stay right next to the convention, but it's a lot more expensive. So there is definitely a chance that this person was staying a few miles away, closer to that football stadium, and then was going to Uber to the convention or something like that, you know. Also keep in mind, I don't know exactly where he was arrested and like this exactly went down, but this is like the general idea. And the point is, you can see that these two venues are not that far from each other. So in my opinion, yeah, it's very likely that he was on his way to the anime convention. Anyways, that's really all I got to say on this one, though. Crazy stuff. Let me know what you think about all this in the comments. Hope you enjoyed my coverage. And if you did, please consider liking and or subscribing. It helps out greatly. I appreciate you. Have a great weekend, and I'll see you in the next one.